In Search of the Miraculous by P.D. Ouspensky. And this is a continuation of Chapter 4. Man number 7 means a man who has reached the full development possible to man, and who possesses everything a man can possess. That is, will, consciousness, permanent and unchangeable I, individuality, immortality, and many other properties, which in our blindness and ignorance we ascribe to ourselves. It is only when, to a certain extent, we understand man number 7 and his properties that we can understand the gradual stages through which we can approach him, that is, understand the process of development possible for us. Man number 6 stands very close to man number 7. He differs from man number 7 only by the fact that some of his properties have not yet become permanent. Man number 5 is also for us an unattainable standard of man, for it is a man who has reached unity. Man number 4 is an intermediate stage. I shall speak of him later. Man number 1, 2, 3, these are people who constitute mechanical humanity on the same level on which they were born. Man number 1 means man in whom the center of gravity of his psychic life lies in the moving center. This is the man of the physical body, the man with whom the moving and the instinctive functions constantly outweigh the emotional and thinking functions. Man number 2 means a man on the same level of development, but a man in whom the center of gravity of his psychic life lies in the emotional center. That is, a man whom the emotional function outweighs all others, the man of feeling, the emotional man. Man number 3 means a man on the same level of development, but a man whose center of gravity of his psychic life lies in the intellectual center. That is, a man with whom the thinking functions gain the upper hand over the moving, instinctive, and emotional functions. The man of reason who goes into everything from theories and from mental considerations. Every man is born number 1, number 2, or number 3. Man number 4 is not born ready-made. He is born 1, 2, 3 and becomes 4 only as a result of efforts of a definite character. Man number 4 is always the product of schoolwork. He can neither be born nor develop accidentally, or as a result of ordinary influences of bringing up, education, and so on. Man number 4 already stands on a different level to man number 1, 2, and 3. He has a permanent center of gravity which consists in his ideas, in his valuation of the work, and in his relation to the school. In addition, his psychic centers have already begun to be balanced. One center in him cannot have such a preponderance over others as is the case with people of the first 3 categories. He already begins to know himself and begins to know whither he is going. Man number 5 has already been crystallized. He cannot change as man number 1, 2, 3 can change. But it must be noted that man number 5 can be the result of right work, and he can be the result of wrong work. He can become number 5 from number 4, and he can become number 5 without having been number 4. In this case, he cannot develop further. He cannot become number 6 and 7. In order to become number 6, he must again melt his crystallized essence, must intentionally lose his being of man number 5, and this can be achieved only through terrible sufferings. Fortunately, these cases of wrong development occur very rarely. The division of man into 7 categories, or 7 numbers, explains thousands of things which otherwise cannot be understood. This division gives the first conception of relativity as applied to man. Things may be one thing or another thing according to the kind of man from whose point of view or in relation to whom they are taken. In accordance with this, all the inner and all the outer manifestations of man, all that belongs to man, and all that is created by him, is also divided into 7 categories. It can now be said that there exists a knowledge, number 1. It can now be said that there exists a knowledge, number 1, based upon imitation or upon instincts or learned by heart, crammed or drilled into a man. Number 1, if he is number 1, in the full sense of the term, learns everything like a parrot or a monkey. The knowledge of man, number 2, is merely the knowledge of what he likes, what he does not like. Always and in everything he wants something pleasant, or if he is a sick man, he will, on the contrary, know only what he dislikes, what repels him, and what evokes in him fear, horror, and loathing. The knowledge of man, number 3, is a knowledge based upon subjectively logical thinking, upon words, upon literal understanding. It is the knowledge of bookworms, of scholastics. Men number 3, for example, have counted how many times each letter of the Arabic alphabet is repeated in the Quran of Muhammad, and upon this they have based a whole system of interpretation of the Quran. The knowledge of a man, number 4, is a very different kind of knowledge. It is knowledge which comes from man number 5, who in turn receives it from man number 6, who has received it from man number 7. But of course, man number 4 assimilates of this knowledge only what is possible according to his powers. But in comparison with man number 1, man number 2, man number 3, man number 4 has begun to get free from the subjective elements in his knowledge and to move along the path towards objective knowledge. The knowledge of man, number 5, is whole, indivisible knowledge. He has now one indivisible I, and all his knowledge belongs to this. He cannot have one that knows something which another does not know. What he knows, the whole of him knows. His knowledge is nearer to objective knowledge than the knowledge of number 4. The knowledge of man number 6 is the complete knowledge possible to man, but it can still be lost. The knowledge of man number 7 is his own knowledge, which cannot be taken away from him. It is the objective and completely practiced knowledge of all. It is exactly the same with being. There is the being of man number 1, that is, the being of man number 1 living by his instincts and sensations. The being of man number 2, that is to say, the being of the sentimental, the emotional man. The being of man number 3, that is the being of the rational, the theoretical man, and so on. It is quite clear why knowledge cannot be far away from being. Man number 1, 2, and 3 cannot, by reason of his being, possess the knowledge of man number 4, man number 5, and higher. Whatever you may give him, he may interpret in his own way. He will reduce every idea to the level on which he is himself. The same order of division into 7 categories must be applied to everything relating to man. There is art number 1. There is art of a man number 1. Imitative, copying art, or crudely primitive and sensuous art, such as the dances and music of savage peoples. There is art number 2, sentimental art. There is art number 3, intellectual, invented art. There must be art number 4, art number 5, and so on. In exactly the same way, there exists the religion of man number 1, that is to say, a religion consisting of rites, of external forms, of sacrifices and ceremonies, of imposing splendor and brilliance, or, in the contrary, of a glooming, cruel, and savage character, and so on. There is the religion of man number 2, the religion of faith, love, adoration, impulse, enthusiasm, which soon becomes transformed into the religion of persecution, oppression, and extermination of heretics and heathens. There is the religion of man number 3, the intellectual, theoretical religion of proofs and arguments based on logical deductions, considerations, and interpretations. Religions number 1, number 2, and number 3 are really the only ones we know. All known and existing religions and denominations in the world belong to one of these 3 categories. What the religion of man number 4 or the religion of man number 5 and so on is, we do not know, and we cannot know, so long as we remain what we are. If instead of religion in general we take Christianity, and then again there exists a Christianity number 1, that is to say paganism in the guise of Christianity. Christianity number 2 is the emotional religion, sometimes very pure, but without force, sometimes full bloodshed and horror leading to the Inquisition, to religious wars. Christianity number 3, instances of which are afforded by various forms of Protestantism, is based on dialectic argument theories and so forth. Then there is Christianity number 4, of which men number 1, 2, and 3 have no conception whatever. In actual fact, Christianity number 1, number 2, number 3 is simply external imitation. Only man number 4 can be a Christian, and only man number 5 can actually be a Christian. For to be a Christian means to have the being of a Christian, that is, to live in accordance with Christ's precepts. Man number 1, 2, and 3 cannot live in accordance with Christ's precepts because with them everything happens. Today it is one thing and tomorrow it's quite another thing. Today they are ready to give away their last shirt and tomorrow to tear a man to pieces because he refuses to give up his shirt to them. They are swayed by every chance event. They are not masters of themselves, and therefore they cannot decide to be Christians and really be Christians. Science, philosophy, and all manifestations of man's life and activity can be divided into exactly the same way into 7 categories, but ordinary language in which people speak is very far from any such divisions, and this is why it's so difficult for people to understand one another. In analyzing the various subjective meanings of the word man, we have seen how varied and contradictory, and above all, how concealed and unnoticeable, even to the speaker himself, are the meanings and the shades of meaning created by habitual associations that can be put into a word. Let us take some other word, for example, the term world. Each man understands in his own way, and each man in an entirely different way. Everyone, when he hears or pronounces the word world, has associations entirely foreign and incomprehensible to another. Every conception of the world, every habitual form of thinking, carries with it its own associations and its own ideas. In a man with a religious conception of the world, a Christian, the word world will call up a whole series of religious ideas, will necessarily become connected with the idea of God, the idea of creation of the world or the end of the world, and of the sinful world, and so on. For a follower of Vedantic philosophy, the world before anything else will be an illusion, Maya. The theosophic will think of different planes, the physical, astral, mental, and so on. A spiritualist will think of the world beyond, the world of spirits. A physicist will look upon the world from the point of view of the structure of matter. It will be a world of molecules, of atoms, electrons. For the astronomer, the world will be a world of stars and nebulae, and so on. The phenomenal and the noumenal I don't know how to pronounce this, Noumenal, world, the world of fourth and other dimensions, the world of good, the world of evil, the material world, the immaterial world, the proportion of the power in different nations of the world. Can man be saved in the world, and so on. People have thousands of different ideas about the world, but not one general idea which would enable them to understand one another and to determine at once from which point of view they desire to regard the world. It is impossible to study a system of the universe without studying man. At the same time, it is impossible to study man without studying the universe. Man is an image of the world. He was created by the same laws which created the whole of the world. By knowing and understanding himself, he will know and understand the whole world, all the laws that create and govern the world. And at the same time, by studying the world and the laws that govern the world, he will learn and understand the laws that govern him. In this connection, some laws are understood and assimilated more easily by studying the objective world, while man can only understand other laws by studying himself. The study of the world and the study of man must therefore run parallel, one helping the other. In relation to the term world, it is necessary to understand from the very outset that there are many worlds and that we live not in one world but in several worlds. This is not readily understood because in ordinary language the term world is generally used in the singular, and if the plural worlds is used, it is merely to emphasize, as it were, the same idea or to express the idea of various worlds existing parallel to one another. Our language does not have the idea of worlds contained one within another, and yet the idea that we live in a different world precisely implies worlds contained one within another to which we stand in different relations. If we desire an answer to the question, what is the world or worlds in which we live, we must first of all ask ourselves what it is that we call world in the most intimate and immediate relation to us. To this we may answer that we often give the name of world to the world of people, to humanity in which we live, of which we form part. But humanity forms an inseparable part of organic life on earth, and therefore it would be right to say that the world nearest to us is organic life on earth, the world of plants, animals, and men. But organic life is also in the world. What then is world for organic life? To this we can answer that for organic life, our planet, the earth, is world. But the earth is also in the world. What then is world for the earth? World for the earth is the planetary world of the solar system, of which it forms a part. What is world for all the planets taken together, the sun, or a sphere of the sun's influence, or the solar system of which planets form a part? For the sun, in its turn, world is our world of stars, or the Milky Way, an accumulation of a vast number of solar systems. Furthermore, from an astronomical point of view, it's quite possible to presume a multitude of worlds existing at enormous distances from one another in the space of all worlds. These worlds are taken together and will be world for the Milky Way. Further, passing to philosophical conclusions, we may say that all worlds must form some. What? Let me read this again. Further passing to philosophical conclusions, we may say that all worlds must form some, for us, incomprehensible and unknown whole, or one. as an apple is one. This whole, or one, or all, which may be called the absolute, or the independent, because including everything within itself, it is not dependent upon anything, is a world for all worlds. Logically, it's quite possible to think of a state of things where all forms one single whole. Such a whole will certainly be the absolute, which means the independent, because it, that is, the all, is infinite and indivisible. The absolute, that is, the state of things when the all constitutes one whole, is, as it were, the primordial state of things, out of which, by division and differentiation, arises the diversity of the phenomena observed by us. Man lives in all these worlds, but in different ways. This means that he is, first of all, influenced by the nearest world, the one immediate to him, of which he forms a part. Worlds further away also influence man, directly as well as through other intermediate worlds, but their action is diminished in proportion to their remoteness, or to the increase in the difference between them and man, as will be seen later. The direct influence of the absolute does not reach man, but the influence of the next world and the influence of the star world are already perfectly clear in the life of man, although they are certainly unknown to science. With this, G ended the lecture. That is, Gurdjieff ended the lecture. On the next occasion, we had many questions, chiefly about the influences of the various worlds and why the influence of the absolute does not reach us. Before examining these influences, began G, the laws of transformation of unity into plurality, we must examine the fundamental law that creates all phenomena in all the diversity or unity of all universes. This is the law of three, or the law of three principles, or three forces. It consists in the fact that every phenomenon, on whatever scale in whatever world it may take place, from molecular to cosmic phenomena, is the result of the combination of the meeting of three different and opposing forces. Contemporary thought realizes the existence of two forces and the necessity of these two forces for the production of phenomena, force and resistance, positive and negative magnetism, positive and negative electricity, male and female cells, and so on. But it does not observe, even from these two forces, always and everywhere. No, but it does not observe even these two forces always and everywhere. No question has ever been raised as to the third, or if it has been raised, it has scarcely been heard. According to real, exact knowledge, one force or two forces can never produce a phenomenon. The presence of a third force is necessary, for it is only with the help of a third force that the first two can produce what may be called a phenomenon, no matter in what sphere.